Welcome to the Severed Floor, a
Hello,
mysterious and
hello.
important podcast where we deal with the uncertainty of the Apple TV Plus series Severance in a way that Kier would have wanted, together as a family. We also speak candidly about sensitive issues as they relate to the show, such as mental health, politics, bigotry, and reproductive issues, because it's important to normalize these conversations. I'm Kelly K, Smokestack Lightning Specialist.
I'm Jazzy S, key trainer of Blighted Snuff Slaves.
That's a great title.
Thank you.
I'm still
You
trying to
gotta write
figure out
a
what I
title
do.
that can get out of my mouth one of these days.
I'm still trying to figure out what it is that I do as a smokestack lightning specialist. I'm not entirely sure. But Firewoman is like one of my I don't know exactly where it fits in, but it's in my top 10 list of my favorite songs of all time.
Oh
So
yeah.
I had to get that reference in.
Excellent
Harmony
song.
Cobel
Yes.
has listened in her car. She's listened to 2 songs in her car, and they've both been 2 of my top 10 favorite songs of all time. Harmony
Bless
Cobel.
you.
I need to hang out with Harmony and listen to music with her because we're
I
on like
mean, Trish seems like a great time. Or Patty. What do you think she goes by? Cash. Patricia Arquette, especially I watched that Hot Ones finally. And it was
yes.
she's so funny and so good. And I was like, I kind of want to hang out with her. She's like if Moira Rose were like a relatable person.
I loved how she was totally keeping a straight face when
When he said the
Adam
joke the second time and she's like,
yeah.
oh my god, I died.
She was keeping such a straight face, and I forgot what it was that broke her. And she just started giggling uncontrollably, and then they just like let her win by default because
because they cheated.
Because they cheated, yeah. Because Zach was giving him bad lines. I lost it when he was like, "What do?" She was like, "What would you do to boost morale?" And he was like, "I guess I would quit." That's hilarious.
I think that's what got her. Urquhart was close.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the one that got her. That was fun.
Yeah.
That's
So funny. Hot ones, more like really hot ones.
like really, really hot wings.
Hey, remember when I said hot ones? Really, really hot ones.
What did you think of that? That was so cute.
Oh my god, I loved it. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen
their stuff, sorry, go ahead.
If you guys haven't seen the Adam Scott, Patricia Arquette Hot Ones versus, you need to check it out. It's so funny. It's so funny. I love it. And Patricia with her frozen grapes.
Oh my god. Adam's like, oh, Patricia requested like 30 things, and I thought he was joking, and they bring out the tray of literally 40 different things that she's like, I looked it up on the internet.
She was really afraid of those hot wings.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Have some pepper every once in a while, Trisha. It'll be all right.
Oh man, that's so funny. All right. This was episode 8, titled Sweet Vitriol, which is actually a reference to Ether itself. What did you think of this episode?
I loved it. I loved it. I've been dying for some Cobel background. I think while it's obviously my theory isn't correct, it does kind of tie in. She is a secret Egan. Like, she is a secret Egan. She's responsible for everything they're doing right now.
Yeah.
It's much sadder than I thought, sort of. I mean, both scenarios are sad, but like, it's just very real for women in the workplace to like have their ideas co-opted and stolen, and for someone as like powerful and like imposing as Miss Cobel, imagining her being in a situation and like that happened to her is like almost baffling.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I love her rage now that she feels disenfranchised and she wants, to reclaim her power. And I can't wait to see how she tears down this building with her bare hands.
Seriously. No, this was a great episode. There was a lot of disappointment online I saw from the fandom.
I knew this was coming. But
Yeah,
like
same.
we got no Miss Cobel all season.
I
She
know.
was in like 3 scenes all season. I'm really glad she got her own episode. I was mad it was only 37 minutes.
Yeah.
When the episode ended, I was like, what the fuck? We got at least 20 more minutes of crime fighting to do.
Seriously.
And we got to like see her have fun and kiss and be light and be nasty to her family. Like, ugh, it was great. I loved it. I love Patricia Arquette. I think she's one of the strongest like elements of the show. And I
Yeah.
was really missing her all season. So I'm glad she got so much focus.
You know what I think might have gone over a tiny bit better? If they had maybe if they'd maybe put this one before Chikai Bardo
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
have it
That would, yeah.
and cut out the conversation with Devin and Mark, but just leave it with Devin leave it with Devin constantly trying to get a hold
We
of
could
her.
have, left it exactly the way that it was. It just not like just have her answering the phone at the end.
Yeah.
And then, had that be the end of the episode and then tied it back together at the end of PK Bardo.
And then they could repeat the longer ending at the end of Chikai Bardo. That might have gone over better, maybe.
Why don't we make
Because I haven't seen anyone arguing that it was a bad episode. I think people are just frustrated that it was, there's only 2 episodes left after this one. And we haven't seen the entire group in 2 weeks, but we haven't seen the entire group since Woe's Hollow.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's been a fractured season overall.
Yeah.
And I think the next 2 episodes should be pretty healing from that perspective for everyone who's missing all the characters. Obviously, Irving B is gone. So who knows if we'll ever have the entire group back together. But Cobel's been missing.
What about Mark is going to be very changed.
We're gonna talk about that during our live today. Because I've got some theories. So if you guys aren't aware, we do a Severance live every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So come check those out. We've only got a couple more left. And you can join in live chat. We take calls as well. But it's a lot of fun. And I'm glad that we're able to get these out a little bit earlier. It's still not perfect because we still don't get the episodes quite as far in advance as we need to. Hopefully that'll change next season, but we should be able to get these out in a more timely manner, thankfully. And it really helps, guys, since we're having to get these out late, it helps us so much if you like and comment on our videos. It really helps signal the YouTube to push out our videos and get us in the good graces of the YouTube algorithm. But
I realized something in this episode.
Yeah.
That is giving me troubles.
Okay.
While I was
you want to talk about it after recap discussion?
Yeah, we can do it after.
Okay, cool.
We can do it after.
Well, let's just jump right in. You're starting this week, right?
Yeah, let's do this. We start with a view of the ocean. This episode is going to traverse some murky waters. There's a long, winding road coming through the mountains along the coastline, and we spot Harmony Cobel zooming down the quiet country road in her white Volkswagen Rabbit. It seems as though she's late. She's late for a very important date. She pulls into the ramshackled old town. Dilapidated wooden houses stand close together, surrounded by miles of empty snowy ground. It's giving Huntington, West Virginia by the sea. She passes a sign that says Salt Neck, thank you for visiting. Inside the town, Cobel stops her car and begins to brush her teeth. She surveys her surroundings and notices an older person sitting in a broken-down, boarded-up bus. The person is pouring green liquid into a brown paper bag. They set the bottle down and begin to pull the bag over their face when they see Harmony watching them. The person stops for a second, almost sheepish to be caught, and then presses the bag into his face anyway and takes a big deep breath. Looking down at the phone on her passenger seat, she sees that Mark's sister, Devin, is calling. She ignores the call and slams the passenger door closed. She climbs back into her car as Who Knows by Marion Black is playing on her car stereo and drives further into town. We come to an old rundown diner with only 2 occupants and a bartender. He crosses the restaurant to refresh the copy of the shop's lone male patron. They discuss an accident down the road, an 18-wheeler that was flipped by a local teenager. He pulls out a green bottle of the liquid we saw the old man Charlie huffing on the bus. He sets it on the table and the customer thanks him. He tells him it's on the house and then crosses over to check on the elderly lady sitting at the bar. She's eating her lunch and has an oxygen tube in her nose. Hampton offers her more coffee and she flirtatiously says that he can top her off anytime. Cobel arrives, pulling up in her rolling Alice in Wonderland reference. As she enters, the wind whips around her, creating a dramatic sound of whistling that announces her arrival. All the occupants seem to recognize her, and none seem pleased to see her. She sits at a table and stares at Hampton until he walks up to her. Smiling up at him sarcastically, she says, "Harmony Cobel? Well, flip my toboggan." He informs her that the tables are only for paying customers, so she says, "Buy me a coffee." Seemingly annoyed, yet seemingly intrigued, Hampton flips her cup and pours her some coffee. She mentions how run down the town is, and Hampton switches into a bit of Lumonese, mentioning the fluctuating markets caused by a re-entrenchment in some of their core investments. Cobel leans in and whispers that she needs a favor, but she can't talk to him here. She asks him to meet her at the factory. She gets up, leaving her coffee untouched, and exits the diner. The wind blowing her hair dramatically and leaving Hampton a bit awestruck. He watches her go for a moment and then turns back to the elderly woman sitting at the bar and asks her to lock up for him at the end of the day. She agrees and he heads out as Where Do We Go From Here by Charles Bradley plays. They park their vehicles facing each other outside the rundown former Lumon factory. Its logo faded but still visible. Hampton hops out of the car and approaches Harmony, his face still an unreadable mix of emotions, but now tinged with more sorrow. He asks Cobel if she knows how fucked up it is that she's asking to meet here. She asks him for a ride to someone named Sissy's, which he promptly denies. She tells him if they are watching her, they're going to be watching the house, and they'll recognize her car. And then he mentions that Sissy is a bit of a pariah around town. Harmony tells him he can stay in the truck. He asks why he would want to help her with anything. She leans in and gives him one of the most intense Cobel stares yet, and she reminds him that they were once chums, and old colleagues sometimes do things for each other. He scoffs at the word colleagues and says, more like child fucking labor. Cobel mentions that Kier and Imogen met at the ether mill. He scoffs again and asks if Imogen was hacking up a lung at the time. This angers Cobel, and she leans in close to him and says she can smell the ether on his breath, and she finds him pathetic. He tells her she tells him you can help me or not, but I won't be a punching dummy for your resentments. He stashes Cobel in the back of his truck in a covered tarp, and they take off to Sissy's. as Cobel ignores yet another call from Devon Scout. The truck pulls up to a large blue home in slightly better shape than the rest of the buildings in town. It is a lone home sitting on this peninsula, isolated from the rest of town. After making sure the coast is clear, Hampton helps Cobel out of the back of the truck. Cobel storms up to the door, determined. Before she can even reach it, though, it is opened by an elderly woman in a long white gown with a matching crisp white Lumon bob. Sissy informs Harmony that she is not welcome here, but she storms past her and runs up the stairs into what looks like a little girl's room. Sissy screams downstairs that she does not want that huff peddler on her property and that Harmony has no right to be here. Cobel snaps back that Sissy is the one who gave him the taste for it in the first place, as she runs her hands over old toys and items in a delighted manner. She checks in the room next to hers, but it is locked tight. She comes back downstairs and confronts Sissy, asking her where her possessions have gone. Sissy says they were sold to the poor. Cobel asks if anyone has come by or called, and Sissy admits that Mr. Drummond has called, but won't answer when pressed for information about his intentions. Instead asking, "What have you done, little mouse?" Harmony rages at this and snatches the landline phone, pulling the plug out of the wall. She turns to Sissy and demands the key to her mother's room. Sissy refuses, saying that the room must remain locked until all who remember her sit with here. They continue to argue about the key, Sissy asking why Harmony brings nothing but woe into her life. Cobel tells her that she is the one who cursed this house with woe. Cobel asks her what her mother's last words were after Sissy took her off life support. Sissy slaps her hard across the face. Harmony stares hard into her eyes, not backing down from the question. Tears begin to well in Sissy's eyes, and she says she believes she saw gratitude in Charlotte's eyes with the knowledge that her suffering would soon be over. And if only she had been a believer, perhaps she would have found solace in the 9. Sissy complains that Harmony didn't have to listen to her sick mother wheeze all day long, and Harmony protests that she would have cared for her mother had she been allowed, and regrets not being there when she passed so that she could say goodbye. Sissy insists that her schoolwork was more important because Mr. Egan saw cure in her. Sissy reveals that Harmony also had the Wintertide Fellowship, like Miss Huang. She says that Harmony was the hardest working child at the factory. And now she's just a disappointment. Cobel demands to know what Drummond told her, and Sissy tells her to return to the Egans and beg forgiveness. They will definitely grant it. Cobel asks for the key again, and sees that Sissy is keeping it in a stone box in the palm of her hand, rubbing it like a worry stone. Harmony lunges and snatches the box from her hands and runs up the stairs.
Cobel tears through Sissy's belongings, searching through drawers and keepsake boxes, but coming up short. She finally sees the shrine to Kyr in the Four Tempers. She finds an old metal skeleton key in a tiny wooden box on the shrine and screams out in victory that she's found it. Walking across the hall, she unlocks the room, revealing the Spartan room inside with a hospital bed and respirator. Reverently, she touches items around the room as her sorrow begins to overwhelm her. Eyeing the respirator, she pulls the connecting mouthpiece out of her pocket and attaches it to the machine. She lies in her mother's bed weeping and taking deep breaths from the respirator. She lies in her mother's bed as the day passes and turns into evening and cries herself to sleep. She's awakened by shouting downstairs. Hampton and Sissy argue until he manages to outmaneuver her and gains access to the house. He comes upstairs with a lantern in his hand, and she asks what's happened. He tells her he came up to get her, much to Sissy's chagrin. She asks him in a frightened voice if he's seen anything, but he says no. He tells her it's too cold in the truck and he needs to get back to town. Cobel insists she needs to find something and asks for a minute to think. She sits up in the bed. Hampton closes the door behind him and tells her he always liked her mom, saying that she hated Lumon more than he did. At least she doesn't have to live with Sissy anymore, he jokes. Cobel cracks a smile, looking all pretty and vulnerable. He comes and sits on the bed with her and inspecting her face with gentle eyes. He then finally asks quietly, "You want to get high?" He pulls one of the green glass bottles and a rag from his pocket. He coughs, then laughs as the ether takes hold. Cobel takes a rag drag, eyes lolling with pleasure. She smiles as the ether releases her serotonin, saying she hasn't done this since she was 8 years old. He laughs and asks if she's ready for a 10-hour shift on the vats. She smiles, leaning in closer. "It's so shameful that you sell it," she tells him, and she pulls him in for a kiss. After a few moments of silence, Hampton tells her he doesn't think what she's looking for is up here. Harmony insists she wouldn't have thrown it away. Suddenly, the light bulb goes off over her head, and she jumps off the bed and runs outside with the lantern, Hampton following in tow. Outside, they walk into a combination lean-to shed and tunnel. Definitely looks like someone's been murdered here before. She begins to search and finds a box with a yearbook inside titled Myrtle Egan School for Girls Annual Reminiscences. She blows off some of the dust and opens it, revealing a picture of her younger self standing next to Jamie Egan, announcing she's the Wintertide Fellowship winner. Leaving the book behind, she continues to search, coming across old toys, a creepy bust of Jamie Egan in a metal keepsake box she has to pry open. Inside is a rolled up leather notebook. This is what she's been looking for. She smacks the folder in a horrifying bust, heading back outside. Hampton is waiting for her there and asks if she found what she was looking for. She has, and it's almost ready to leave, passing him the utterly monstrous bust, asking him to watch her head and get the truck started. She heads back indoors. Cobel tells Sissy that she's leaving, ordering her not to tell anyone she was here. Sissy declines, saying she would never lie to a steward of the Egans. Cobel turns and looks at her angrily. "Lumon destroyed this town. You owe them no loyalty." Sissy disagrees, saying before the factory there was no town. They owe everything to the Egans, and so does Harmony. Everything you have, you owe back to the Egans and fealty. After use of the word fealty, Cobel snaps, shaking the notebook in her face and screaming, "Mine! My design, circuit blueprint, base code, overtime contingency, Glasgow block, everything." Sissy scoffs, naming James as the inventor. "So I've heard," Harmony mockingly replies. Sissy flips over the pages of the notebook, realization dawning on her that Harmony's words are true, and all these notes and sketches are proof. Sissy asks why she hasn't spoken with this before, and Cobel tells her she was taught that Kier's knowledge is for all, and they threatened to banish her if she ever tried to claim credit. Sissy takes this in for a moment, and then it makes a swift motion to attempt to throw the notebook into the fireplace. Anticipating her motions, Harmony is able to stop her and wrestle the notebook free from her grasp. She turns to leave, screaming that she hopes Sissy dies just as painfully as her mother did. Sissy tells her it was her mother who removed her own breathing tube, calling her a coward who was full of woe and malice. Sissy closes the distance between the two of them, telling her she used to believe she was different, that Harmony was a flower that Sissy was nurturing to grow. But now she recognizes her as a weed, just like her mother. Outside, Hampton begins to honk his horn, shouting that there's someone coming. Sissy smiles knowingly. She has alerted Lumon. Disgusted, Cobel runs for the truck, clothing her notebook. Hampton helps her into the driver's seat and tells her she has to go. Hampton stands alone in the middle of the road, staring down the oncoming Lumon goons as punk-ass Sissy watches from the window. "Come tame these tempers, assholes," he says through gritted teeth as the car approaches and Firewoman by the Cult plays in the background. Driving away in Hampton's truck, Cobel finally answers the phone for Devon. Devon answers breathlessly, calling her Mrs. Selvig and telling her that she's been trying to reach her. She casually drops that Mark has been reintegrated. Cobel asks if Ragabi has killed Mark. Devon says no, and Cobel instructs her to hand the phone to Mark. Mark says hello, and Cobel demands she tell him everything as we roll to the credits. How does that not just put you in a good mood?
As soon as that music starts. Ding it, ding it, ding it, ding it.
Oh my god. I love it. Steve Colbert is such a treasure.
Yes.
Seriously though.
We're doing something a little different this week, and I'm actually adding our live onto our recap. So, which is gonna be going up hopefully later tonight. So if any of our podcast listeners are confused about what I'm talking about there, check out our YouTube sometime and our Severance lives. And the countdown is just fucking amazing.
It's a hoot.
But for those of you who have not checked out our lives yet, and have not checked out our Walking Dead coverage, we've got Dawn here. Dawn is one of our live co-hosts for Severance.
I am.
And I guess we should probably just introduce ourselves, shouldn't we? I'm Kelly Kay, Smokestack Lightning Specialist.
I'm Jazzy S, key trainer of the Blighted Snuff Slaves.
I am Dawn Glenn, and I am a huff peddler.
Currently employed at the Drippy Pot.
Yeah.
I was so torn between that and Bearded Vulture.
Yeah.
Had a real hard time.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
A treasure trove of nicknames this episode.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Hey, Wild Marjoram. Oh wait, what was this? Wait, it was only 37 minutes long because they cut the 20-minute long ether-fueled Cobel section.
Release the Ben Stiller cut. I gotta get the 60s.
Yes, exactly. Trish Arquette could brush her teeth for a half hour and win the Emmy.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, this basically is going to sub in this week for our discussion because when Jazzy and I were recording our recap earlier, we were about to go into our discussion. I'm like, wait a minute, we're gonna be discussing this episode in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can authentically do that like back to back like that.
Hey, you've never had to re-record the podcast because nobody pressed record and you had to record it again 2 hours later. I've done that.
Oh, no, I've done that.
Yeah.
I think I did that with you, Jazzy.
We only got so we didn't get that far. We got
I guess we didn't.
20, 30 minutes and it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great.
But yeah, so we just decided like, hey, let's get the discussion and do the live and just add that on. So we're discussing it. Our discussion is actually our live, our YouTube live. So it's a lot more informal and it's a lot more chaotic. Hopefully there won't be any weirdos calling in.
Hopefully.
But,
just the good weirdos.
Yeah, we can hope. But if you typically listen to us and you want to check out one of our lives sometime, you can do that on our YouTube channel every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So Dawn, what did you think of this episode?
Yeah, it was a bit like watching a Swedish art film or something. I was like, oh, we're really it was very different. I loved the focus on Cobel. I've seen a lot of people complaining that it felt like filler, and I do agree that although there was huge revelations in it, it wasn't a lot in a long huge revelations.
Character development is not filler. World building is not filler. Like
no, I really really liked the dude. I was like, ooh, this is really intriguing. Hampton, that's his name. Yes,
because
I was like,
they only say it once. They only say his name one time, and it is the last thing she says before she's like,
that's right.
I was writing the notes, and I was like, the server, and I was like, I gotta think of something else to call this guy. I'm like searching everywhere trying to find his name. It's nowhere. It's not on IMDb.
Yeah.
And then she's the last thing she says before she drives away. She's like, Hampton, goodbye. I go back and fix all my notes. I just did.
No,
It's
that was very deliberate because in the
Yeah.
subtitles, it like she was at Sissy's house already, and like it referred to him as the waiter in the
Waiter, yeah.
subtitles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
we got the name of the old lady at this Leo that was sitting at in his diner. We got her name way before we got his. So it's like, wow,
yeah. Yeah.
something
The diner
interesting
patrons
there.
had names.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
wondering if that was kind of like a commentary on, you know, just how forgotten these people are. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
how forgotten the
Yeah.
people in this town are. But yeah, I told Jazzy like before she'd even seen the episode, I'm like,
People will
I'm
hate
not
it.
looking forward to the complaining that there is
I
inevitably
knew
going
it
to
was
be online.
coming.
Yes. And
But
it seems,
on a woman?
yeah,
yeah.
it seems to be a lot of people who are like the people who are focusing on. This is so against my nature, but it seems to be the shippers that are complaining because they didn't get any, Mark and Haley. But hello,
Mhm.
it's Cobel.
Yeah.
She's
barely been in it the whole
yeah,
season.
exactly. Yes.
I know. Well, if people watch the show through shipping glasses, I don't think they're gonna be very happy at the end of this
No,
season,
man.
regardless of who they're
No,
shipping.
it can't possibly be happy. Whoever you ship
No.
Mark with, if
These
you
ships
ship
are
him with
sunk.
Yeah.
They're bad.
Gemma or Haley or Bert and
Yeah.
Irving as well. Ooh.
Oh
Right?
god. Yeah, this show is a shipper's nightmare, isn't it? But yeah, it just like I thought it was a great episode. I think the problem is that I think people are missing I think people are annoyed that it's been 2 weeks in a row without a typical Severance episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand what it, and this season has been like that, hasn't it? Every episode has been kind of, because we had the Outward Bound, we had, there's not been many episodes that were in on the severed floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
But
can appreciate it.
it's what's interesting though is like the dynamic dynamic kind of had to be a little off um ever since Harmony and Irving were let go,
Yeah,
like because it's a lot different the dynamic is a whole lot different than it was in season 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. I told Jazzy like I wonder if it would have been better received if they had put this before Shikai Bardo and
I think
just
so.
yeah, and just
yes,
cut
I
off
agree.
the conversation with Devin, like just ended it with her answering the phone.
Mhm.
Or yeah, just ended it with her answering the phone, and then at Shikai Bardo they could have tacked on the extended scene of that.
I think
Yeah.
it would have been better for the pacing of the season too. But I also don't know how it's going to end. Maybe, it works
No.
out there. Yeah. Watching it from this perspective, yeah, I feel like they should have probably switched them.
Yeah.
But I still love them both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did too.
It's like, and in the Walking Dead, when we had Morgan's flashback episode, Here Not Here, which was such a good episode, but it was so badly received because it was in the middle of big plot and everybody's like, I want to get back to the plot.
Yeah,
Audiences
that's
are not
hilarious that
patient.
you brought that up because I brought that up during our recap.
Yeah.
Oh, really? There we go. Sorry
Yeah.
for those listening, getting the repeat.
It was such a brilliant episode.
It
but
was, yeah.
It just people didn't like it because of where. Well, I mean, the episode right before it was just hot garbage. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that.
Oh,
sorry.
What's that?
I was gonna say it reminded me of that episode of Stranger Things in season 2 where they go off with meet Elle's friends.
The sister. Yeah.
And everybody's like, boo. Developing relationships between female characters? No thanks.
Right.
I had 2 big
Give me the
takeaways
quote.
from this episode that I've been noodling, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
One is I really loved the world building we got in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I really love how much it shows the reach of Lumon. Like, this whole town has been destroyed by Lumon, and like like what does Lumen own everything? Is the whole world like just a union, not a union town, but a company town for Lumen at this point? Like, I don't know. It's just
I don't
really
know.
interesting that they're like in this remote, like Sissy's house is the only house on the peninsula. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't a big, area. I really loved the world building. I thought it did a lot to expand the story in this episode. The other thing is, I just noticed for the very first time that Devin Scott has an Android phone. Do you guys know the thing about Apple?
So does Rickon. What
I didn't know that. Apple does
Rickon
not
has
allow.
it too. What were you
Apple
gonna
does not
say?
allow bad guys to use iPhones.
Oh,
That
I
doesn't
did not know
necessarily
that.
mean that they're bad guys, but Apple
But
does
that's
not
interesting.
let bad characters or villain characters use iPhones on the show.
That is very interesting.
On any show.
Wow.
Shut up. And I joked about that with Rickon before, but I wasn't totally serious.
I know. I was so excited. That's what I was saying. I wanted to talk to you about when we were taping earlier. So I've just been stewing for like 2 hours. Like, I gotta get this off my chest.
Get out.
Wow.
But see, okay, are they gonna? Because there's no way in hell that I will ever believe that Devin is a secret villain. So,
Yeah.
but maybe she's a villain in the eyes of
By
Lumen.
proxy. Yeah.
What really bothered me was was her insistence on calling Cobel.
Yeah.
Now that we've gotten this whole episode where we see like how much Lumen has actually hurt Miss Cobel, I feel a little bit differently. But Devin doesn't know that.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. Like, she lied to get into her house and she hid her baby somewhere. Like, why would you call this woman for help? It was such a strange move. And then I noticed that she had an Android and I was like, oh fuck, like, does this mean something?
Oh, man. Damn. Okay. Does Harmony have an iPhone? I didn't pay attention.
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
No. I couldn't tell you.
But I saw it so many times. I didn't notice.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll have to. Well, actually, no. I mean, I think we have a picture of it.
Oh yeah, we for sure do.
Let's see. Is that an iPhone?
Yeah,
that's an iPhone. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't have an iPhone, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't either. So I don't know. So we're baddies.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I have an iPhone and I can't tell. That's what's so weird. Yeah. I can't remember what the calling screen looks like when I don't know. On my Galaxy. I can't remember.
Mine doesn't
but
like that.
That
we
would
need
be
a phone nerd.
That would be interesting if Harmony has an iPhone.
Yeah, an iPhone.
Devin and Rickon both have Androids. That would be really weird.
Have we ever seen any other Lumen employee with a phone? I'm trying to think. I don't think we have we? Like
Mark.
Yeah, just Mark.
Milchick. Yeah. That's interesting.
Especially with like Rickon selling out to Lumen so hard this season.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
so easy.
I don't think that like Devin would ever try to hurt Mark, but I like it would be really crazy if she were like deeper involved than it appears she is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rage if she turns out to be a villain because I love Devin.
Yeah, I love Devin too.
Devin contacting Cobel is like Cobel telling Mark to leave Lumen in the season 1 finale and then going to the gala to stop Ellie. Confusing character turns. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I don't. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think now we know why Cobel is like, wants Mark to leave. It makes so much more sense. But she still wanted to stop Helly because she still wants to have the power at Lumon. She wants Mark to leave, but she wants to have the power. So it makes sense to me.
I mean,
Yeah.
she
She would do
deserves
both.
it. She should
Yeah.
be in power.
Hell yes. Yes.
I said this
It
on
is.
the. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, as I was just going to say, it's
Yeah.
a huge thing about women's, especially in STEM, being passed over
Absolutely.
for the men.
Yes, I was saying this. It also kind of it does not prove my theory at all. But she is a secret Egan. She's literally like the whole power behind the Egan's like current business model. Like
Yeah.
they stole like everything from her. Like they owe her their success right now to her. So yeah, I feel like that still can't like half credit, like it's like a B plus.
It's like that, it's kind of like that quote unquote famous artist, Keen. I forget his first name, that did the paintings of the kids with the big eyes. And
Oh
I know
yes,
you're talking
yeah.
And it was found out years later that it was actually his wife that did
yeah.
all of them. Yeah, it's I felt like this episode was kind of like watching somebody who was just unfortunately, the first thing that came to mind for some reason as far as comparisons go was Dexter, which neither of you guys had seen. And for those who have watched Dexter, it reminded me of the Trinity Killer and his daughter. But this was kind of like, somebody who tried their whole life to, someone who was kind of like just ignored by their family, who tried to get their family's approval their whole life. And finally it just finally hits them one day that they've just been totally fucked over. And yeah, I think Harmony Cobel is out for blood now. with
She's the Katie Holmes of this story.
Oh man. Yeah.
There.
Yes, definitely. Very much so.
It's also about, it's class, especially in the UK, where class is a even bigger thing than it is in the US, but obviously it's still especially more prevalent now. But the idea that if you're working class, no matter how much of a genius you are, somebody who's from a rich family will more likely take your ideas and be the one to get famous and richer from it. If it's so hard to escape being working class. And obviously, Harmony thought she was going to, and was to a degree, and then they've taken it all away from her again. Which is just like, suddenly we're all on Harmony's side.
Her saying, "This is the first time I've done that since I was 8 years old." Oh, it's like Mickey Rooney, like tap dancing for cigarettes at MGM when he was like 8. Like, it makes me so sad.
God, yeah.
Like, this company. So Miss Wong is a child slave, right? Like, we have. Oh, sorry. I've been thinking about things all weekend. I haven't been texting. So I was like, I don't think there's any way that she could be a clone because she's too old.
Yeah.
But if they started the cloning process from the first time they drew blood from Gemma that we see in the first episode, like when they're at their meet cute, if they start from then,
we don't know how many years ago that was.
It's been some time.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Mark and Gemma were married for 8 years. Is that right? Am I pulling that out?
I think so. I think 8 sounds right to me. That I have heard that number.
And I'm sure
8 years? Dude, that's kind of freaky, because that's like that's a number that comes up a lot in this show.
Yeah.
The number 8. So that's really interesting if they've been married 8 years. I didn't know that.
I think so. I hope I didn't make that up, because I feel like I remember them saying that.
I feel like I remember it as well. But I can't remember when.
Yeah, Dawn, I'm excited to talk to you about this because I haven't
Okay.
talked to you about my severance
Your big
theory,
theory.
my
Yeah.
big severance theory, my epiphany that I've had since. Okay, so there's 6 floors on the testing floor, right? Or 6 rooms on the
Yeah.
testing floor, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there's 6 stages. There are 6 Bardos total.
Right.
Chikai Bardo is the 4th Bardo, which is like the first Bardo of death.
Oh.
And the 6th Bardo is like rebirth. So I feel like they've been using obviously Gemma lives there at Lumon, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know she's not the only one,
Yeah.
that they've got lots of test subjects. I think I assume that they're using test subjects as dancers at the waffle parties. And
Because they're in
I'm
masks. Yeah.
I'm thinking that they're selecting those test subjects based on like what genetic traits they want to pass
Jazz has
down.
just had an epiphany.
I think they're using the waffle parties to breed their test subjects, and the children are raised within Lumon, and
Mm-hmm.
Miss Wong is probably a waffle party baby. But I do also think that there is a really good chance that cloning is involved too, because
waffle party baby.
yeah.
I was you saying that. Do you remember when they announced the first waffle party and Miss Cobel tries to get Mark to take it?
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I don't like sex. Let Dylan go. I'm just doing this over here." Yeah, like, oh my god, yeah.
Oh,
She tried
yeah.
to push him. She was like, "You can pick yourself. You don't have
Yeah.
to pick Dylan. Dylan's gross." I love Dylan.
I just assume she
Shout out to
said that because,
Secretary.
like,
You are not
Dylan
gross.
keeps getting it.
Yeah, she's like, enough
Um,
Dylan jizz. Let's get start over. Yeah. Sorry, I said jizz.
That makes sense.
Had a long day.
yeah, no, I think this is basically all, like, kind of a form of eugenics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
But
definitely think that's their end goal is like controlling breeding stock and
It's interesting to me in this episode, the guy that Harmony sees huffing, sitting in the like outside in a van, and the guy in the
Charlie
diner.
Boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody looks a bit similar. They all look a bit like Christopher Walken. And I'm like, there must be something in that. And the fact that last week or the week before, when we saw that group who are watching them and they all looked like the same group, they looked like Dylan, it looked like Irving. Like, everybody looks a bit alike. And even the people in this town look a bit alike.
yeah.
That there's
The
something.
There's a guy that reminded me of Drummond.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this episode. But yeah, and there was the guy from Great Doors who totally
who
Who
looks
was-
like Dylan. Yeah.
Who was Dylan's double. Yeah, totally.
yeah.
There's something going on with that, whether it's cloning or genetic, taking the jizz from the waffle parties and using it to create lots of people. Maybe Irving did a lot of waffle parties.
Oh god.
Irving and Bert have fathered 20 million children.
Oh man.
McPoyles everywhere.
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
the whole world of McPoyles.
We're gonna find out that all of the refiners are related.
Oh yes. Yeah, it's weird.
Man.
That makes me think that Helly's whole goal is to get pregnant. Like,
Yeah.
like that's what she was planning to do from the jump, and the reason that she severed is because she didn't want to live it. She didn't want to experience it.
Well,
yeah.
I think here's the thing. I think like, okay, since this, if the whole Bardo thing is really an important tie-in, then I think Cold Harbor is gonna basically be the rebirth of Kier. And we're gonna find out that one of them is pregnant. Perhaps Helena is pregnant. But they're going to basically have Gemma
I was just
be a
going to say
surrogate.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking there must be something to do with the fact that Gemma couldn't have a child, and it seemed like probably that was how they've got her as a promise of a child or whatever. And what if that's from Haley? If she becomes a surrogate to Haley's baby, Haley and Mark's baby, that's
Yeah.
horrid.
No, oh my
And she's
God.
gonna be giving birth to Kier.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Like this baby Kier is gonna take over this baby's consciousness.
Yeah. There was so much stuff in Harmony's mother's room. I'm gonna need to watch that like 12 times to get
I
all
took
the
a lot of pictures.
yeah.
And I took
Because
18
there was like
times. So I could have-
the cards on the table that
Yeah.
it looked like tarot card kind of things, and there was the
Yes.
four heads, one of which was like a ram or a goat. I'm
Yeah.
like,
They
I
had
need to
the tempers.
yeah.
Let me look at some of these comments here. They took it away from her because she was working not for herself, but for the glory of Kier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't see what these are. They're too small. My eyes are too old.
Yeah, I'm the same. I can't read it.
Yeah, I can check him out in a minute here. Yeah, no doubt in my mind, Ms. Wong is an orphan, Lumon adopted. Mark and Gemma were married 9 years. Okay.
Oh, 9 years.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Madam Random.
There are 6 rooms for Gemma, but 25 rooms in all.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Didn't I see during the week on the bad place that there's something in the Cold Harbor file that relates to Haley? It's like Haley's file number, yeah. So there definitely is going to be something to do with Haley in that final room.
Yeah.
And that's I definitely think it's a baby.
Yeah, it's like
go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's like it's like Helly's badge number or something like that.
Yeah.
Was on the Cold Harbor file.
I feel like maybe Lumon's end goal is to basically alleviate human suffering for the wealthy, at least. Maybe not for everyone.
Yes.
But like creating heaven on earth by creating hell on earth for the innies, but the innies don't count because they're not people.
Yeah.
To them,
right.
you know. I had a point that was like trying to bring that all together, and now it's gone because my brains are cheese. But yeah, I definitely feel like there's some dark eugenics shit happening, and
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's giving me the uncomfies.
Well, we know that, like, I mean, I think everybody pretty much figures that Kier is going to be reborn, and that's why his house is in Lumon.
Yeah.
When okay, what I'm kind of interested in is he died when he was like his 40s or something like that. But wasn't he really sick before then? Like, because there was the youthful convalescence of Kier.
Yeah.
That painting. I wonder what that was all about.
Well, we
I think
talked about the weather before. Did you see the little clip that was put out about the SFX team, and they showed like how the SFX have done? They've put more snow on every single outdoor shot. If there's no snow, they've put more snow. So to have an SFX do that, and even in some ones where there is some snow, to make more of it, must be a key plot point to put that
Yeah.
much snow on everything,
Yeah.
to spend money doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Yeah,
what it
that's
is.
I
Yeah.
don't either. I think they're using people like Cobel for waffle parties too. I think Cobel danced as the jester at the waffle party. She had a jester mask on her shrine.
Yeah,
Which
there
was
was a
very,
jester. Yeah, I saw that.
yeah. It
The
looked. I think
Jester's
she
one of
had.
the Temples, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the jester's one of the tempers.
Yeah.
With actually, let me look something up really quick. Uh,
Excuse me for just 1 second, guys. I'll be right
okay.
back.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to look this up because I thought I heard something about this. There used to be something called ether frolics.
Oh, okay.
And an ether frolic was basically what it sounds like. It was a party where people got together and got high on ether.
And later.
But it's interesting 'cause it was called an ether frolic.
Yeah, which is
Um,
it sounds so Lumonesque, doesn't it? Frolic.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's one of the four tempers. Frolic is
Yes,
one of the four
exactly.
tempers. The waffle party dancers want variety and probably Mark.
Yeah, everybody's obsessed with Mark. What's Mark got?
Yeah, seriously. Oh, hey, Cindy, good to see you. Glad you could make it to another one of our lives. My boyfriend thinks Rickon looks like Drummond. Yes, because he totally
Oh,
does.
yes, he does.
He
Yeah.
totally
It
does.
does.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen all
Um,
the videos of people just discovering that Adam Scott is hot because of last week's episode?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
who
so
is
funny.
this man? I'm like, you guys are all sleeping on Ben Wyatt? Like,
Yeah,
the
oh my
hottest
god.
man who's ever been on television? Come on.
So
yeah.
funny.
He's the best. Ben Scott is like the perfect husband, boyfriend. Yeah.
Oh
Not so much
man.
in this, but still.
No. Although I don't think their marriage was as bad as some people were painting it. Like, oh no,
No, it
Bio.
wasn't.
No,
It
it was
really wasn't.
like they were
Yeah.
they seemed stressed and distracted, but they didn't seem like he
He
had
said like one
he was
shitty thing to her,
yeah.
and they're like, abuse. Like, monster. Get the torches.
I remember like I saw when I watched the movie The Vicious Kind, which I've brought up here a few times. Forget what year that movie came out. So basically it was like, Adam Scott's character and his brother. Adam Scott basically like it kind of had a thing for his brother's girlfriend. And I think he eventually ended up sleeping with her. But he was kind of like he was kind of the dirtbag between the two of them relatively. And I remember I forgot what conversation we were having, and my husband was like commented on he said something like she's not gonna go for him because he's a total dirtbag. I'm like, I don't know, I think I would.
Have I told you this? Have I told the story on the pod about me getting too flustered by Adam?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to know the PvP. But yeah, Adam is very handsome.
Yeah. Helena wanted to get pregnant with Mark's baby in order to get new blood in the line, right?
Oh yeah, imagine if she's been set up with people who are like, ooh, all our cousins are our half brothers or something. Ooh!
Seriously.
No cousin stuff.
Helena and Christian both get pregnant. Like that would be
yeah.
That would be really dicey if Gretchen got pregnant, because then I bet you she's not.
Oh,
She
I'm
and Audie Dillon aren't sleeping together.
positive that Gretchen's getting pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm positive Gretchen's getting pregnant because that's I can't imagine a more complicated storyline.
Exactly.
How does that work? Whose baby is it?
Yeah, because he's like, we haven't had sex in like 2 years. How have you? What? No, it's you.
Marjoram
You're the
said
father.
Marjoram said it's a baby with a fully aged Kier head, like in the titles.
In the titles.
I'm terrified that that's going to happen. I don't think I can emotionally handle that.
They're gonna force the baby to wear a giant Kier mask until like
curling around with his giant head lolling.
Well,
It'll be like in What We Do in the Shadows. So you watch that with the baby baby version of
Colin Robinson.
Colin Robinson, yeah.
That was so funny. Nate Cordry's
Yeah.
No. Mark, I don't know how to say his last name. The guy from The Office.
Yeah.
His giant head on that little tiny boy body.
It's
for
funny.
some reason now, I don't know why, but for some reason now I'm just thinking of like even though we're talking about humans, I'm now suddenly thinking about the Key and Peele sketch with Jordan Peele as Ice-T on the dog's body.
I love that sketch.
Kier's head on a goat's body.
Oh my god.
Ooh. Did you guys notice the all goat seeing eye chart on the wall? Did we talk about that?
Yes.
We didn't talk about it, but
it's been
no, I
haunting me.
noticed it.
Yeah.
All
Why the
goats
obsession
on
with
different
goats?
angles.
When they explain the goats, we're all gonna go, oh yeah. That makes sense.
Man.
Did I see when Harmony was looking at her at the yearly reminiscences yearbook?
Yeah.
And it said, no, it was her award, and it said whatever, her Harmony Cobel, and then it said Year of Wiles underneath it. I thought that's what it looked like to me, because I thought, and they tried to say cover up so you can't see what year it is. But I'm sure it said Year of Wiles.
On the actual award?
Yeah, on the award. Underneath her name.
Well, what's interesting about that, there was the scene in season 1. There was a scene in season 1 where she was sitting at her desk and she was like going over the 9 core principles. And she got to Wiles and she just like you could see the wheels in her head turning, and she was just like, she kept saying Wiles over and over again. She's like, she was thinking, like she was really like her mind was really putting something to work, and she's like, Wiles.
So I was beginning to wonder, is it like, do they have it like the Chinese years, the year of the dog, do they have like a year of each one of the tempers?
Yeah. That's probably the deal.
That makes sense.
Which is even more interesting then if Gemma and Mark were married 9 years, 9 tempers.
Yeah.
And if they have the years as a temper, they've come round to that year again, the first year.
Yeah. Or the principles.
The principles, sorry, I keep saying tempers. I mean principles.
I'm taking a totally blind shot in the dark and thinking it's this one. Oh my god, I got it.
Yeah, well done. You're a genius.
Nice.
Can't see it though.
Yeah, I see the Wiles there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There you go. Well done, Jazzy. That was brilliant.
Really quick before I forget, since Dawn, I know you can't stay on all night.
Yeah.
Dawn is in Scotland, for those of you who are not aware, so it's very late where she is right
You can see the clock behind me.
Who are you putting in? Who do you want to put in the? This is hard because like it's just Harmony and. I mean, I guess there's really no. Yeah, we really can't do break room or incentives.
But I like Hampton. He was hot. And why is his face so battered? Has he been fighting? What's going on?
No.
Ether.
His face was like, yeah.
No. Okay.
Like meth, maybe. I don't know how ether works.
Well, we're putting. I mean, Sissy's going in the break room.
Yeah.
So, what incentive? Let's just decide what incentives we want to give Harmony. Dawn, what incentive you want to
Okay,
give
I'll
Harmony?
have to think. I just suddenly thought I want to give her some lip balm for kissing Hampton. So she's got lovely soft lips for doing the kissing.
Excellent choice. Excellent choice.
Nice.
I can just see a little Lumon lip balm, you know, when it says Lumon on it.
Yes. I'm sure they make lip balm. They make everything else. Jazzy, what about you?
Is the respect of your male peers an incentive?
Yeah.
Something like
Ooh, I don't think Lumon would offer that.
Yeah, probably not. I'm gonna say more ether. People enjoy that. And
I'm sure they would give
Harmony to have a good time.
I'm sure
An
they would be happy
ether-soaked
to give
rag.
They're drugging kids to work in a factory? Like,
I am going to add back some of the photos that we included in our recap here because there are some really good ones of the room.
Yeah, I had got a bunch of those. I spent some time trying to get pictures of that room.
Yeah.
I need to just study them.
I took like 30 attempts at getting a picture of those cards because I was trying to get all of them.
Yeah.
Physically impossible.
And did you manage to get a picture of Sissy's plaque? Because I didn't have.
Got some, but I couldn't.
I couldn't. I just saw a name, but there was a lot of writing on it, and I was like, "Oh, what on earth? What she got a plaque for?"
I did take a picture of that too.
Yeah, so it was hard to read, but I've got it.
You can't really read it.
No. What do you think Sissy's relationship is to Harmony? Is she her? Oh, there we go. No, you can't read it, can you?
Aunt.
That's what I was assuming. Aunt, yeah.
Sorry.
That's what a lot of people are thinking.
Yeah, I'm doing
I
that.
mean,
I can't read it.
I don't know who else would be taking care of
our mother. Yeah,
like they're like giving Leah.
Yeah,
she's too young to be her grandmother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're all clones.
Let me just oh shoot. Whoops, I'm looking at the wrong thing here.
The technology being all over the place just messes with my brain. Like she had an old, rotary phone, and then they've got iPhones, and Mark has a typewriter, and I'm just like, what? The ether, the oxygen pump thing, whatever it was, that looks like from the 50s. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
That's a fruity. My eyesight is so bad.
By the way, I'm working on getting our website back up again, and when that happens, I'll have some merch, and there's a very special Severance related design that I'm excited about. That is relative to the 9 core principles. I'm trying to read.
I saw this earlier.
Something about something the earth. I'm gonna have to.
Oh yeah, the card that she moved. Yeah, what did that say?
Yeah,
it says things that the earth serve anew.
Oh,
okay.
That sounds like anew. Does sound like rebirth of someone, doesn't it? Vision.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I can see vision. I can't read the other two. What does that bottom one say?
Probity.
Oh, okay.
Frosty.
I'm like fruity. I need my eyes test.
Jazz, I'm sorry. What did you say that? What incentive did you say that you were gonna give Harmony, Jazz?
More ether.
More ether. Yeah. I think that I think I'm gonna give Harmony. I don't know what to give Harmony. I think that you know what? I think she needs to chill out a little bit, and I think the ether will help with that.
That's where I'm coming from.
But after that, after she gets high off of her ether, I think that she should just sit down in a room and relax with the nice water ring game.
I was going to say, does ether give you the munchies? I don't think it does. Give her a bag of Cheetos.
Not by looking at the other people in town.
No, no.
Or give her a bag of cringies. Those are the snacks that Devin was eating, which I just found out are called cringies.
Cringies.
Yeah.
Weird.
I know. Oh, Ben Stiller said it was her aunt. Okay.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Well, yeah. We've only got 2 episodes left. How on earth? I definitely think the cliffhanger will be someone is pregnant, whether it's Haley, Helena.
Everyone's pregnant. Bert's pregnant. Irving's pregnant. Felix is pregnant.
Oh God. I could totally see I could totally see them being able to basically having the technology, having the medical advancements to transfer the fetus from Helly or / Helena to Gemma, and that way, like, Helly never even finds out that she was pregnant.
Ooh.
Oh, that's so sad. Yeah.
Like, Helena would know.
Gemma's gonna make it out of the season alive.
I don't know.
They keep talking about her having to go and having it being over, and like I feel like
I think he's going to get to 100% on Cold Harbor by the end of the season. I think that's going to be that's going to be it. I just had a thought. Okay. What if Helena keeps the pregnancy as secret, or could she, from Lumon, as long as possible, because she doesn't want Lumon to take away her Mark baby?
Possible.
She loves Mark.
Let me.
Sorry, go ahead.
I saw let me just throw this out there because I saw this really interesting theory come about. So Mark was Cold Harbor is now at 90 cent. And it got stuck there at 96. Yeah. And Drummond said that the nosebleed set them back. And somebody online said that the refiners can't continue to work on the file once they know what they're refining. And that it's possible that Mark knows now.
The amount of reintegration, has stopped him. That makes sense.
Yeah.
He's become self-aware.
Yeah. But I don't think so. I think they're gonna I think Devin said that they want to try something else. So they're gonna go to the birthing cabin, right?
Yeah, that was their plan.
Yeah. And we saw those images of Harmony and what looks like it could be the birthing cabin. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this goes. But yeah, that's like it is interesting to me that Devin did call Harmony, like, maybe somebody told her, like, gave her some info on Harmony that we're not aware of, and she knows that Harmony, like, invented but how would she know that? Because it was such a secret.
No, nobody would know that unless they're, and because I imagine even the people who know wouldn't tell anybody. The Egans who are aware of it, would keep it secret because they want everybody to believe it was James Egan who did it.
Yeah.
I think she must have Devin must have just thought, well, she knows the most. That's the only person she knows of who knows the most about Severance. being severed, so that's why she called her.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, just my head, my brain is spinning right now.
Yeah.
I want to know everything.
Yeah.
I'm just, but
That's why people were like so impatient with this episode, because everybody's just like, I want to know more. Like, have patience.
I'm
I
still
still-
really intrigued by the fact that like Rickon's birth was so weird.
Mm,
Like and I'm planning on doing a video
Oh my
where
God.
I basically just do a reading of the first 8 chapters of the UUR. But he talks in the UUR about how his birth was his mother's pregnancy was a performance art piece. It's a 9-month-long performance art.
that's interesting.
Did any of you guys watch the last episode? Not this one, but the last one with subtitles on?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. In the scene where Devin finds out that Gemma's pregnant, and like she and Gemma have this like silent like eye conversation basically,
Yes.
and Rickon is talking about drinking and purifying his own urine. The whole time, and I did not hear it at all watching it the first time. Like, I was so absorbed in the two women and their acting and how good it was. But like, Rickon is trying to get Mark to go out hiking with him, and he's like, "Come on, we'll purify and drink our own urine. It'll be glorious." And Mark's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
It was like in this episode, you could hear Hampton and Sissy, they were like, I couldn't hear what they were saying, but the subtitles had all the insults she was calling them, which was brilliant.
Yes.
Crow skin.
So that was totally Drummond coming in at the end, right? Yeah. Man,
So they pulled out of this town, but they still watch Sissy's house all the time? Like, or just are they just watching it now because Cobel?
Harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Can we call her Harmony now that we know her a little bit? Like,
yeah.
Miss Cobel.
Yeah, I think we can. Like, I kind of have dropped the Cobel, I think.
It feels uncomfortable to me. Like, it feels too informal, but
I know.
Now we've seen child Harmony. We've seen where she grew up and her the marks on the wall of her height. So that was like, oh, that was heartbreaking.
We watched her do inhalants. Like,
yeah. And have a nice nap.
Yeah, for sure.
Like creepy stalkers, we watched her sleep.
I was telling Jazzy that I have a theory on why, like, because we got we learned in the one episode that Milchick is actually more empathetic than we've been led to believe.
Yeah.
But he's so fucking cold toward Miss Casey. And I was telling Jazzy, I have this theory that he might, like, I don't know how much he knows about Cold Harbor, but he might know, like, just enough that he doesn't want to know more. Because it would basically be his undoing, and he would and so he's just really cold toward Miss Casey because it's just like he can't handle the truth of Cold Harbor.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Do you think he's been a child slave labor as well? He's been in it since he was a child? Because I was thinking about when he did all the paperclip and things, and I was thinking, is he having traumatic flashbacks to doing a child something, doing repetitive for like 12 hours?
I don't think so.
No?
I think it was just his fear of he's
a failure.
Yeah, like the whole conversation with Milchick this season is about like the way he fits into this organization and his race, and how they're basically trying to erase his race, to make him
Yeah.
more Lumen appropriate. And I feel like the trembling was like he's been doing all this work to try to like give himself more proximity to whiteness and to perfection in the eyes of Lumen, which he'll never achieve. And we hear the people, I called it Luminese we hear the people all speak, like, there's no difference in the way that Milchick speaks that Harmony speaks. But they're going to tell him, hey, uppity Negro, dumb down your speech. Like, no one, like, wants to hear you talk. Like, he's been cultivating that speech his whole life. He's been trying to speak as professionally as possible to climb this ladder. And now they're telling him no matter how hard you try, you're never going to reach it because you're Black.
Yeah.
I think it's him coming to terms with that and trying to like, do I keep throwing good after bad or
I can't see him sticking around for the long haul. I think he's gonna eventually snap.
I think we'll be left with Mr. Drummond as the baddie, I think he's the true
I love that actor so much.
Yes. Oh, and Somebody Somewhere. Have you seen Somebody Somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh,
I have not.
Oh my God. It's one of the best shows ever. It's so heartbreaking and heartwarming and just and he's really, really good in the last season of it.
He's also Maria Bamford's love interest in Lady Dynamite. He's great in that too.
Oh, cool.
He's a good love interest. We'll give him that.
He's a great romantic lead. You never see a plus size man in a romantic. Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
James. It's rare.
But rarely, put it that way.
Yeah. Sure.
It's not a joke. It's not like, he's fat and she's hot. Amazing. Like,
it's not King of Queens
yet.
There was while Marjorie mentioned that she said that the cards look like Victorian fortune cards. That's what I thought too. Yeah.
Have to look them up.
No.
Very interesting. I cannot wait to do this Lumen deep dive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start working on it as soon as we're like right after we're done with the finale. I'm gonna be like obsessively working on it. I'm so excited. And Dawn, I don't know if you because obviously I wouldn't have talked to you about this. I was mentioning to Jazzy that like I don't know how it is that Harmony Cobel has played a total of 2 songs in her car. And both of the songs are like 2 of my top 10 favorite songs of all time.
That's amazing. You are Harmony Cobel.
I am. I think I am. I think I'm Harmony Cobel.
So the first one was the Stone Roses, wasn't it? Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Stone Roses, Love Spreads. I used to joke that I used to sing Firewoman with my last band. But funny enough, that song is actually how we found our last drummer because our drummer was moving and he was at and then our next drummer was at one of our shows and we did Firewoman and he got all excited about it, but that we covered Firewoman. But I used to joke that was my theme song because I'm an Aries, so I'm a fire sign.
You are the fire woman.
Harmony Cobel needs to come to my house and we could just rock out to music together.
You can do some ether and listen to music.
Sounds like a great time. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I bet she has a lot of like Nick Cave and PJ Harvey and Motley Crue in her music collection.
I was not happy with the cleanliness of that rug he was using. I was like, can you find me something cleaner to sniff?
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, it's only artificially dirty.
Okay, then.
It's just
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
creepy.
That's true.
So that
Jazz,
same dirt they use on QVC.
Jazz, do you think that the people in Salt's Neck eat cat food to go to sleep?
For sure, they have to.
Yeah. That's a
Otherwise,
funny reference,
y'all
John.
will live 1,000 angry cats
Okay.
and keep them up all night.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, it's funny though, because like I totally got Gary vibes from this episode,
Mhm.
Gary, Indiana, because it was like, because Gary is such a forgotten town. Like it was so thriving before the steel mills shut
Yeah,
down.
I used my
Yeah.
hometown of Huntington, not hometown, but my long-term town of Huntington, West Virginia, 'cause
Yeah.
they were like a major railroad stop, and then once the railroads were over, then it looks like that, but not on the coast.
Yeah. That was Gary. Like Gary was
Mhm.
thriving in the days of the steel mills, and then the steel mills shut down, and Gary just was totally forgotten about.
If you've seen the Toxic Town that's on Netflix, I'm assuming it's in the US as well,
I
but it's
keep wanting to watch that. I haven't
yeah.
yet.
That's basically about a similar kind of thing. It's a town in England that had a steel mining industry, and then it shut down. And of course, all the toxins from the steel mining there, like zinc and cadmium and all, has got into the land and affected these women who have children born with limb differences and other
Mhm.
problems. So that's what it's
Yeah.
about. That when the steel industry pulls out, what happens to the town and how do they survive? And that's the same kind of thing. And it's corruption and money changing hands, and the people with the people high up not paying any attention to the little people who work there and what happens to them. And
Yeah.
that woman with the oxygen, or was it ether? Sitting at this.
Maybe. Where do we find ether? Is it just available?
I have
Yeah, I
no
don't
idea.
It's a joke for the NSA. Excuse me, I'm not serious. Please don't send ether to my house.
I like the fact they were in this. It was in this green bottles, like something from the Victorian era. They were
Mhm.
old-fashioned looking bottles.
They were
Man, they
very
mess
fancy.
with my head. Everything they do messes with my head with the time frame, like when it's set and why are the cars from the 90s?
Yeah.
Why?
I've made the point that I'm not a big car guy. I don't really know much about cars, so I only just this episode realized that Miss Cobel's car was a white VW Rabbit.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, is that deliberate Alice in Wonderland?
That's what I
Yes.
figured.
imagery? And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, like I'm a genius. And then I went online and like 100 people have already like thought that. I was like, yeah, because most people know what car kinds are, but I just noticed that now.
I would
Now,
have had a clue.
I've mentioned it on the show before, but I didn't really make a big deal out of it. Like
Mhm.
we didn't really talk about it or anything. I was just like, oh yeah, it looks like Cobel's White Rabbit.
Yeah.
But
Maybe it's
yeah,
a matrix
yeah,
and a symbolism. Which is the
Yeah.
same thing. Follow the white rabbit, it's the same thing.
yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to. So I think next week we're gonna see Irving and Bert again. I believe,
Yay!
hopefully,
We
with
should.
Radar.
It's the penultimate episode.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think next
I
week is the
know.
scene with Bert and Irving and Radar.
I
And
can't believe it's 8 episodes. I feel like it's just been like 3 because there's
No.
been, even though there's such a small cast, I still feel like I haven't spent enough time with them. Give me more.
Yeah, not at all.
I know.
I need more time with Gretchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need a Leah Shawkat to come back.
I don't think that's happening. I'm
Still
sorry,
holding
Jess.
out hope. I know. No, I know.
I need more Radar.
Yeah.
Personally. But I have a new theory that because somebody commented on our most recent on this week's Yellow Jackets recap that, and don't worry, this isn't a spoiler, Dawn, in case you haven't.
Oh, that's
seen this
okay.
week's
I'm going to watch it after we hang
okay.
up. I will be going to watch it.
But someone commented because I know like goats are really plentiful in Canada.
Mhm.
But someone commented, they're like, I don't think it's real because that's not a mountain goat, and that's pretty much all there is in Canada. And I was like, wait a minute, yeah, I didn't think of that. So my new theory is that the wilderness that they're all stranded in on Yellow Jackets is actually part of Lumon.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
I got two shows confused when Harmony went into that sort of whatever it was underground place where all her stuff was kept,
Mhm.
and she opened the door, and I was like, oh, she's going into the tunnels. And I'm like, nope, that's a different show. Because it totally looked like that same bit, with the sort of the land around it.
I think
my
they
God,
used
I've
that
totally
space
done
in
that.
Fargo this season,
Oh yes,
if I'm not
definitely.
mistaken.
No, I did that with Severance and From during From season 3 because I was watching both at the same time, and I was just like, my brain was just like, I was expecting to see Fatima on Severance, and I'm like, wait, what about that Fatima storyline? I'm like, oh wait, no, wrong show. Oh my God.
Are we watching too much television? No,
Yeah,
definitely not.
maybe.
No.
But I know you've got to go, Dawn.
Yeah,
So,
I've got to
so
go
we will
watch Yellow
see you.
Jackets
Awesome.
before I
It's
go
my
to sleep.
favorite episode so far.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I love it. But awesome. Hopefully we'll have a lot of really cool stuff to talk about next week because I'm excited. We'll get to see everybody again.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna have cool stuff to talk about. Safe bet.
I can't imagine episode 9 being disappointing.
What if they
No.
do a real? What if they do a real like just a clip episode?
On this week's episode of Severance, a
Like,
recap. You're like,
this is what
no!
filler is, you guys.
Oh.
Filler.
So it'll be Helly and Dylan and Mark sitting around talking about telling funny stories about Cobel and Irving B. And it's gonna be all clips with those two from when they were still at Limit.
Oh, dear.
Oh man. and Bert too. Yeah. He'll get like a glimpse of his retirement party or whatever. I don't know. But and maybe Mark will talk about his temporary coworkers, so we'll get a little Aaliyah Shawkat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've never seen them again. Those big name actors
I
for
know.
2 minutes of screen time. What?
But it's a clip show, so it'll just be like what we've
It's
already
that
seen
same
now.
clip they already used. Yeah. I just like, unless she just really, really, really wanted to be on the show, and that's all they had for her. Why would
Maybe.
you like? Not like I would pay Aaliyah Shawkat to do anything. I think that she is amazing, and she's one of the best actresses of our generation. But why would you pay Aaliyah Shawkat wages? You have to. She has a good retainer, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like that could have been anyone.
Hey, Keanu
Yeah.
Reeves did the voice of the building.
That's true.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, like Elijah Wood asked to be on Yellow Jackets. He was like, "Hey guys, I love the show. Can I come work with?" So it may have been a situation like that, but I thought about that with Gwendolyn Christie too. Like they announced
Yeah.
like co-stars this season. They billed them as co-stars, and then they were all like in a scene.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. True. All right, we will let you go. We don't want to keep you too long.
Okay.
But thanks for joining us as always, Dawn.
Okay.
And, we'll
Take
talk
care.
to you soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Jazzy, was there anything else that you wanted to
I feel good about it.
Okay. So really quick before we go, I wanted to just I wanted to bring up there's a Yellow Jackets fan that could I'm always looking to kind of share people's fundraisers and everything. Um, and there is a Yellow Jackets fan who's got some he was having some financial struggles at the moment, and they're genuine. They're absolutely genuine. But shout out to her Twitter username is I Eat Lottie. But great
That's
name.
funnier.
Yeah. But definitely check her out on Twitter if you can. And her buy me a coffee is buymeacoffee.com/Lottie Nat, LOTTIENAT, if you're not familiar with Yellow Jackets. And you can see what she's raising money for and everything, and then you can donate over at her Buy Me a Coffee. But I always like to, whenever I see somebody in one of our fandoms trying to raise money, I always like to give them a shout out. So
signal boost. It's very kind of you.
Yeah, of course. I've needed help plenty of times. So
same here.
But so that's it for us for this week, guys. Please, if you're a Yellow Jackets fan, please join us on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, right? Yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern. Or no, not this Sunday night. I'm sorry. Not this Sunday night. This Sunday night, we're going to be going later. And we're still trying to figure out the exact time. So make sure you turn your notifications on and just stay tuned for that. I'll post on the community tab on our YouTube page too as soon as I figure that out. But we're doing a dual live with a dual broadcast with Sci-Fi Vision this Sunday. But typically we go live at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. I think we're doing 9:30 this week, but I'm not entirely sure. Just make sure you check back later. Also, we do, if you are listening to this on the podcast and you missed this live or you're seeing this later on our YouTube channel, we usually go live we do our Severance lives every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and we've only got a couple left. So come join us there. And also, if you guys could do us a massive favor, it would help us out so much. If you could like this video and leave a comment, because that really helps get us in the algorithm's favor. That would be so super awesome. We would love you forever for it. And with that, we'll skedaddle on out of here. Praise Kier!
Sorry. Praise Kier!